President Trump's special envoy, Steve Witkoff, and his son-in-law, Jared Kushner, have arrived in Egypt. That is where Israeli and Hamas officials are continuing indirect talks to try and implement the president's plan to end the war in Gaza. So for more on this, let's bring in CBS News reporter Haley Ott, who's following developments from Jerusalem for us this morning. Haley, the talks appear to be gaining momentum. What can you tell us of the latest, and what are you hearing on the ground?
Good morning, Vlad. Yes, so U.S. Special Envoy Steve Witkoff and President Trump's son-in-law Jared Kushner are joining the indirect talks today. We've seen video that shows them arriving there, and we've heard reports that those talks are underway. We've also heard reports that Qatar's prime minister is expected to join. He's seen as a key mediator as well. Today's the third day that these negotiations are going on over that White House proposal, which could see the release of all the remaining Israeli hostages in Gaza in exchange for hundreds of Palestinian prisoners and perhaps even an end to the war in Gaza. A senior Hamas official this morning said Hamas had turned over a list of Palestinian prisoners that it would like to be included in the exchange. But there are still many hurdles, as you can imagine, that could break down these talks and mean a deal doesn't get agreed. Here in this part of the world, though, the feeling, the one you described, really hopeful that things appear to be progressing, that they're actually seeing the president's involvement, President Trump's involvement and interest in this plan and in these negotiations as a very positive sign.
Haley Ott reporting from Jerusalem for us this morning. Thank you, Haley. Appreciate it. All right. As ceasefire talks continue, there are growing concerns about getting much-needed aid to the people of Gaza. The International Rescue Committee and other aid groups say the situation is dire, and both Israel and Hamas have blocked aid from going into areas that need it the most. And both Israel and Hamas deny those claims. So let's bring in this morning Kelly Razzouk. She is the president of policy and advocacy at the International Rescue Committee. So, Kelly, just describe for us the latest conditions that you're hearing about on the ground inside Gaza City from the people that are affiliated with your organization. Are they able to get any aid in?
Thanks, Vlad. And as you've said, the situation is dire for the civilians in Gaza, and humanitarian organizations like the International Rescue Committee are very concerned about the humanitarian situation on the ground. We have had to suspend our operations in Gaza City due to the conflict there and the evacuation orders. We've relocated many of our staff to other places to meet the needs of the population that is fleeing to other parts of Gaza. And one of the things that we've seen over the course of the last week with the families that we've been surveying is severe rates of malnutrition. We've seen this particularly among children. 1 in 3 children that were surveyed went a full day, so a full 24 hours without anything to eat. So obviously, this is a very dire situation. Only 1% of the individuals that we surveyed said that they had enough food to sustain them. So we're very concerned about these severe rates of malnutrition, as well as the inability to reach these populations. What we really want to see is a surge in humanitarian aid and the opening of border crossings so that we can reach these people, so that we can reach these children with the malnutrition treatment that they so desperately need.
So all eyes now are on Egypt, as you know, as this peace negotiation discussion continues. So if a ceasefire is able to happen, how quickly can your organization and other aid groups mobilize and move into the region? I understand, of course, it would be up to the Israelis to open up those border crossings, but I'm just curious as to what kind of time frame we would be looking at. Are you ready to go at a moment's notice?
That's right, Vlad. We would need the permission to bring in our supplies. We now have several tons of life-saving supplies that are waiting to enter Gaza. So if we had those permissions, we could definitely bring that in and scale up. We also need the conditions on the ground to stabilize so that there's security for our staff to move around and to be able to reach these individuals, to be able to reach those malnourished children and bring them the right treatment that they need. but we do have these supplies ready to go. We know that the UN has supplies pre-positioned to be able to flow into Gaza if the conditions on the ground allowed it.
All right. Really important discussion here. Kelly Razzouk, thank you from the International Rescue Committee. We appreciate it.